It was reported last week that federal agents from the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI have commenced what are being called wellness checks at the homes of migrant and immigrant families around the country. While we've not heard of any here in Montgomery County yet, I have serious concerns about why this is happening. First of all, it's hard to take the concept of child wellness checks for immigrant children seriously coming from a president who separated children from their parents and put them in cages. What they're really doing is targeting children as a pretense to get access into people's homes where they can observe the layout, can observe who lives there, in order to facilitate the more drastic actions that we know are yet to come. This is shameful, and it's perverse to pretend that the president and his cronies care about child welfare, whether we're talking about immigrants or otherwise. Furthermore, we've seen plenty of news reports about agents showing up in unmarked vehicles, covering their faces and arriving without clear coordination with local authorities. That is terrifying and anti-democratic. The idea that you would walk in masked with no identification to someone's house is not the way we're supposed to do things in this country. We've never seen this kind of approach to federal immigration and deportation processes before, not even in Trump's first term. Let me be clear, I expect any federal law enforcement official who's making a lawful apprehension in Montgomery County to show their government identification, and they should not be wearing a mask or face covering when apprehending an individual, unless they know that person has COVID. If you're going to do this dirty work, at least own it. Every day we inch closer to the fascist practices that typify Russia and Nazi Germany. Our country fought a war. Our grandparents laid down their lives to keep fascism from coming to America. And now it's coming here, carried by people who wrap themselves in the American flag. Our policy here in Montgomery County when it comes to immigration actions is clear. Our police officers do not engage in federal immigration enforcement activities. That's not new. It's part of the executive order, but it's been county policy for years before the executive order, and it's been reviewed and approved by the Maryland Attorney General's office. We don't want anyone to avoid calling the police when they need help. We don't want parents to be afraid to bring their children to school, and we don't want people hiding in the shadows because they're afraid of being targeted just for being here. At the same time, we're not interfering in federal enforcement actions. That's not our role. But we do have a responsibility to make sure that our residents know their rights, understand what's happening, and have access to trusted information and resources. That's why we encourage anyone with questions or concerns to contact the Gilchrist Immigrant Resource Center. The staff there can help connect you with legal support and language assistance and information about your rights under the law. We're a county that believes in protecting the dignity and safety of all people, regardless of immigration status. And speaking of things that were done by the federal government that are completely wrong, this week, Senator Chris Van Hollen traveled to El Salvador to intercede in the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland resident who was illegally detained and then shipped to El Salvador due to an administrative error, said the administration. He had no criminal record and was legally in our country. Even though the courts have directed the Trump administration to bring him back to Maryland, the Trump administration has so far refused. His plight and the anti-immigrant rhetoric reminds me of the famous quote from Martin Niemöller. First they came for the communists, but I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there is no one left to speak for me. I applaud Senator Van Hollen's effort and proud to join other elected leaders who rallied in Silver Spring to support that effort to bring this Maryland resident home and to call for the return to due process and democracy. It takes a lot of courage to go to El Salvador and stand up to the dictator there. And I wish the senator good luck in this trip, and I look forward to a safe return.